Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel, Jen Jabel Designs. This is Jen, and I am going to be walking through an album that I recently created for Country Craft Creations, and I will be featuring the Ireland Forever exclusive collection. I'm using the 12 by 12. I'm also going to be using the Ireland Forever companion pack, which has all of the plaids, crackles, and cut-aparts to go with your Ireland Forever paper. It's absolutely amazing. These are the cut-aparts that I didn't use. I used one sheet. There are two in the companion pack, and I have used everything that you see here in mine. I'm not quite sure if I used this little guy here. I may have, but I don't remember. But the borders, everything are wonderful. Now, I also used some papers that I had left over from the Remember the Time collection. There will be some singles for the March set from that printing soon and available at the store. But for now, there are, if you have the Remember the Time collection and you did not use it all, you may have some of the pieces that I used. I used a calendar piece and a couple other things in here. Pretty much besides, with the exception of a couple dies from my stash and some inks and charms, everything in here I used you can get from Country Craft Creations. So for starters, this is a lay flat method 5.5 by 8 chipboard album, and I did do some changes after completing the tutorial. Along the way, I kind of noticed a few things that weren't fitting properly or just didn't go where I wanted them, and I added a few things. So I will try to put everything in captions that I changed, but I'll go over it with you in my walkthrough here. I will be posting the tutorial for this album a little bit later today, and I do have a video that I recorded doing this lay flat album, and in that video I give tips on how to do the measurements for other albums as well. So look forward for that. For as far as this album goes, this, like I said, is 5.5 by 8 using the heavyweight chipboard, craft artisan cardstock. I've used the gold foil 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and on the side here I had a piece of chipboard in my stash that I used on the side here for just for an added little touch of the Irish look. This is actually the white seam binding that you can purchase at the store that I have dyed using inks and sprays in gold and green, and I do believe I used Vintage Photo Distress Oxide spray as well on that. And then I just have some Tim Holtz charms here that I used, and I dyed those with some gold alcohol ink, and I put that on a loop pin and put one of these little fun door knockers and some beads from my stash. The front of my album I wanted to keep fairly simple without all of the embellishing, so I have done a wrapped chipboard element for my front, and that is just the gold foil paper wrapped over a heavyweight chipboard, and then I applied my cute little, this little Irish couple is absolutely adorable. I've used the green crackle as a mat, then the gold, and then the decorative papers on the back, the cover, and the spine. So I double matted. On the inside of our pages, I just did single matting. So let's open this up. I will show you also this back piece. This border is from the Remember the Time March collection. So when you open this up, we have a couple little angled pockets. I'm trying to grab something that I can show you that this has how. So you can put pictures in here. These do have 1/2 inch gussets, and I will show how to make those in my tutorial. So I have one here and one here. Everything here has a 1/4 inch of space in between my pages, and I will show how to create that spine piece for your pages as well as the pages, which were done in a stacking method. This first page here has this fun magnetic belly band closure, and you have 2 flip opens here, and I've used the Natural Artisan to make these photo mats on the back here. And like I said, I only did a single mat with that gold foil paper, and that is done throughout the inside of my album. The pages in this album are 5 1/4 by 7 3/4. This page, I used some green from my stash of ribbon. I did not have any more of the white to dye, so there's a couple places where I used this green that coordinates nicely. I took one of the cut-aparts and put it on a artisan cardstock card that I created, and it flips open like so to give you two fun photo mats, which I used the Dress My Craft corner punch to make these fun little picture spots. Just tie that shut, and I will move on to the next page. On the next page here, I did a double pocket album, or excuse me, double pocket page system. So you have two side pockets that you could slide photo mats or anything you want. As you can see here, I did try to use the same piece of paper, so these coordinated nicely. Here I've done some applied mats in gold and then the paper, and then I cut the slot punch with that Dress My Craft punch that's available in the store. Little corner pocket on this side with another fun little card. This is a flip open. Again, using those beautiful, I mean, just look at the imagery on this. It's just gorgeous. I love it. Here we have a belly band page. This paper here in the background is from the Remember the Time. And when you open this up, I have another belly band on this side, as you can see. Again, that paper. Here, I've used the Heartfelt Creations die, and I do have a tutorial on how to do this in my tutorial. And I made a tag and a pocket using that die, and then embellished the pocket as well on the cover using some of the dies from that Heartfelt Creations set. On the flip on this side, and I did not magnet close. This is heavy enough that you don't need to. You could add ribbon or a magnet closure if you like. This one I made a frame and using acetate that is available in sheets from the store. And I love this image from the paper, so I cut it out. But when you take it out, you can see we have acetate here. You can put any picture you want in here. You could leave this, or you can just simply put it in and put a picture on top of it that's smaller. So you have that little bit of background. This is a Tim Holtz Impresslet die that embosses and cuts at the same time that I have. Here is another area where I used the Remember the Time. This is one of the calendars that I cut down to fit in here. And I've got some more of that fun seam binding that I dyed over here. When you open this, I used a frame die. You can use a simple oval die. You can put just a square piece of paper or cut an oval, put it here. I have a belly band in the background. And this is open. If I can grab, I'll use this. So that you can slide this under your belly band as well. So you could have this here and another picture on the top. You could put some journaling behind it if you wanted. I just liked that look. And this is one of the crackle papers, and this is the plaid. So this whole spread here that you see, the backgrounds is all from that companion collection, which is great. So in my tutorial, I make two of these little pockets with you for these little cards. Now, originally, these little cards and pockets were going to be staggered on a page. When I started applying that to the page, I didn't really care for the way it looked. And so I wanted to do something different, but and I ended up only using one of these pockets. But if you can find another place in here that you want to put that pocket, or if you want to stack two on top of each other, you could do that on this page as well. There is definitely enough room with the 1/4 inch spaces to do that. So I'm going to tie this shut. Here I have another fun acetate frame that I slid a picture that I cut away from the paper. Another little border here from the Remember the Time collection, and another one of those fun gold foil dies to accent. This is another page with the ribbon glued underneath of the card, and it flips open, and we have our photo mats again using the natural artisan cardstock. And the biggest change for this album, the original idea was to put a 5 by 5 inch 6-page waterfall in the back. Okay, I was not loving the way that was fitting with this piece here. So what I've done is I created a separate folio that houses the waterfall, and I cut it down. So I added this pocket here, which is a boxwood, the My Colors boxwood, which hopefully you can see this in camera. It's kind of dotted. It's super, super pretty color to go with this paper. I really liked how that looked. This little girl here is from Remember the Time, as well as the border strip. And how I did this is I cut, grab a ruler, a piece of my artisan cardstock in craft, and I cut that at 9.5. Close my waterfall here. 9.5 by 7.5, and then I scored that at 4 3/4 to get a 4 3/4 by 7.5 inch little folio. And then I put all of my papers on, added this little cut apart, which I used the boxwood paper here and that gold foil to mat. And then I cut my waterfalls in the tutorial. These are 5 by 5.5. Instead of the 5 by 5.5, I did 4.5 by 5.5. So when you put your score line at the 1/2 inch mark, that leaves you with a 5 inch tall by 4.5 inch wide waterfall. Okay, and there's still 6 pages. I just, like I said, I adhered them in this book rather than making them separate and putting them in here. But everything is done the same. And you can embellish the backs of your waterfall. I did not choose to. I chose to leave that blank. And that just folds and then slides in this fun little pocket. And it fits better, and these plaids coordinate. I did that on purpose. So that is my album. And like I said, I will be posting the tutorial later today, and I will do my best to point out in captions where things were or were not used. Like I said, if you want to put your waterfall that size in the back, you can do that and eliminate the pocket or leave the pocket underneath. It's just an option. So I will be back with a tutorial soon. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.